Hello, it's Sydney Rose and I'm back with another testing paint pen against each other videos, and yes, I am filming a third intro on the same day in the same hoodie. So during filming, which I've been doing right now because I'm doing this all within the same day, but during the filming of testing out the brush tip of the well markers versus the brush tip of the shuttle markers, I was thinking, because I had already filmed the intro for what I'm going to eventually do, test the bullet tip of the well markers versus the bullet tip of the Posca markers, might as well also do a testing against the bullet tip of the Royal and Lay nickel markers, because remember from my other videos, they're interchangeable between a bullet tip and a wedge tip. So I decided I would test the well markers versus bullet tip of the well markers versus the bullet tip of the Royal and Lay nickel markers. So I'm not going to switch between them two either way. So I'm not going to use the brush tip on this marker, just the bullet tip, and I'm not going to use the wedge tip on this marker, just the bullet tip, to see how they compare to each other as well. So let's get to it and test these two markers. So this is another paint marker video I filmed back around August or September, I don't really remember which one, but I bulk filmed a lot of these videos in one night and I really thought I was going to post them much sooner than this, but I'm currently voicing this over on December 23rd, so obviously that didn't really work out. But at least you're getting to watch it now, so hello future viewers and welcome to my series where I've been trying out different brands of acrylic paint markers against each other. This week, I'm taking you guys with me as I test Royal and Lay nickel markers and Well Cob markers against each other. But for the sake of time and pronunciation, I'm going to be calling them Royal and Well markers. Starting off, the Well markers I purchased for this come in a pack of 80 markers and are around $33 at the time I filmed this video. I originally bought these markers to test out to see if they were a good fit to use with my art students who were doing a project like this around the time, and if you watched my last paint pen marker video, you know that I did in fact end up purchasing this set for my students. If you haven't watched that video, you should watch that one after watching this one. The well marker is dual tipped, so one side has a brush tip and the other side has a bullet tip. In today's video, I will be testing the bullet tip. For the Royal markers, they also have two tips, but they're not two-sided markers, they're just interchangeable. One side is a wedge tip and one is a bullet tip. So I'm going to be testing the bullet tip today to see how well they hold against the well markers. The Royal markers are the second acrylic markers I've ever tried, and they are in my running for my favorite for this melted smiley face design I used to test the paint markers, so you're going to have to watch the rest of the video to see which one of these markers wins out in the end for yourself. But the Royal markers are much more affordable of an option if you're wanting a high quality marker without breaking the bank. However, they don't have as many color options. A pack of 6 markers will run you about $8 at Walmart or on Amazon. The biggest set I found online was a pack of 24, and that set cost around $27. I'm not sure what the math is on comparing that ratio, and that's why I'm an art teacher. So if my fellow teacher Laura Palmer is watching, because I know you watch my videos sometimes, I'm sorry I didn't do the math on that for the voiceover. But moving on to the actual experiment. I started off with the well markers, and as always I started by making a border with painter's tape so it protects the paper from curling too much and allows me to test colors in the border without messing up the actual piece itself. With this layered paint pen design, I am able to test how well to see how the colors layer over each other and how opaque they are against each other and the paper, so this is a good way to test out the quality of acrylic markers in general. A good rule of thumb for acrylic markers is to do at least 2 layers to cover up the streaks and make them more opaque. I had a lot of trouble with this in the last video with the brush tip on the well markers, but the bullet tip did seem to be doing better, but it was still streaky and just not as streaky as the brush tip side. I ended up switching the color of my squiggle border because it was not covering up the blue squiggle whatsoever, so I had to use a darker green to cover it, which did mess up my color matching a bit, so that is a minus for the well markers. The light colors just do not cover the dark colors very well, and that's something that you do want to see with an acrylic marker. Okay, and here is the finished well piece with the bullet tip compared to the Royal Lay Nickel markers, but I think bullet tip is the way to go. I'm filming a lot of these comparison videos all on the same night, like I explained in the intro, but for this design, the bullet tip is really great. And again, there's really good coverage on the well markers. I just wish that it wasn't so streaky with the bigger sections, even though I go over it a couple times. And I ended up switching this color, but I'm sure I'm going to explain that in the voiceover, but what do you think? And it's time to move on to the Royal and Lay Nickel markers, so let's go.
On to the Royal markers, and I'm not sure why the first clip ended up being so blurry. I filmed time lapses in 15-minute intervals to make sure they're still recording because I am a picture and video hoarder. And if my phone runs out of storage while I'm filming, I wouldn't know because my phone is on a tripod above my head to film these videos, so that's just my safest bet. So for the first 15 minutes of this drawing, I guess my phone camera just really did not want to focus. Something I haven't mentioned yet that I need to is, yes, I'm testing out these markers against each other because they both have similar tips, but the way these markers draw is much different. The well markers are a free-flowing paint pen, which means they do not have to be activated by pushing down on the tip of the marker, which makes the paint flow a lot more evenly. The Royal markers have to be activated, and sometimes this can make the paper a bit more damp, so you have to wait longer in between layers for the paint to dry so you don't rip up your paper. I'm very impatient when it comes to drying time, so this is definitely a negative for the Royal markers, but my positive for them is that at least they're a lot more opaque, making them less streaky than the well markers overall. And since the end results look more opaque, I like the Royal markers for this design much better than the well markers. All of the colors cover each other well, no matter if they are dark or light, and you can see that I got to use my original light green that I had planned out for this video over the blue squiggle, no problem. Where the well markers, I ended up having to change the green to a darker color even to give it a chance of covering the blue. This did skew the color matching with both pieces in the end, which could change your opinion of which one you like better, but all art is in the eye of the beholder. So what you decide is really up to you. I'm just here to test them so you don't have to go and buy a ton of acrylic marker brands just to see which ones you like best.
Here is the finished with the Royal and Lay Nickel. It looks like a little bit of it's still drying, but this green, the color match isn't great, but with the Royal and Lay Nickel, I think it looks a lot more clean and opaque rather than the well. It's still more streaky, but the Royal, they don't dry as fast, and so sometimes there's more like streaks and little mistakes like that from where I lay my hand down. The well dried super fast, so these are very similar to the Posca markers in that aspect. I'm filming a lot of this on the same night, so I'm not sure what video is going to go out when, but of course, as always, I'm going to put both still images next to it. But what do you guys think? Which one's your favorite?
And here are the photograph results of both pieces with each marker, starting with the well, then the Royal markers. I don't think the well markers are bad at all, and I did end up buying these markers for my students because the amount of them for the price, but I do have to say for this particular design, I do like how the Royal markers look a lot better. I think the piece just turned out better overall, but what do you guys think? Art is in the eye of the beholder, so it really depends on what you find to be the most appealing. I did mention it in my last testing paint pen video, but it's been a while since then, and I wanted to preface this again. When my students used these markers for their project, we found out that they ran out of paint very quickly. So if you're an art teacher who teaches a lot of students, I wouldn't really recommend them. I teach high school students, and I think these would be better suited for elementary just based on the quality, but the Royal markers do pose the challenge of taking a while to dry, and things taking a long time to dry can also be a challenge in the art classroom. So it's really what suits you and your classroom and your best particular teaching style. But if you are an art teacher and you end up teaching this layered smiley face design as a project, or if you're an artist and want to try it yourself by making your own, definitely show me by tagging me in your work on Instagram. My Instagram is the same as my YouTube at Hey It's Sydney Rose, and I would love to see all of your amazing creations. I promise you it would make my day. But with that, we have come to an end of another segment of my Testing Acrylic Marker series. If all goes well, this video should be coming out on Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates. I hope you are all having a wonderful day with friends and family, and I'm thankful you took the time to spend some of your day with me watching this video. It's so crazy that 2025 is coming to a close. I started this YouTube channel in college for an assignment in one of my arts management classes while we were learning about being an artist in modern times and how social media played a huge part in that. I made the videos I was required to, and they're still actually up if you want to watch those, but that was that. I did film some vlogs because I had always wanted to start a YouTube channel, but around the time ended up being a pretty hard time in my life, so some of them got posted, but most of them didn't. In August of 2024 is when I decided I would start taking my YouTube channel more seriously, and I finished up those vlogs and posted them as lost footage videos, and then I started creating long form videos and finding my love for editing again. Then I started posting weekly in March of 2025. I'm so happy with where I am in my life right now, and I'm glad I get to share it with you all. I know this is very sentimental, but I'm really proud of how far I've come over the past few years, and I know my younger self would be proud of everything I'm doing and glad that I'm enjoying my life. So thank you all for coming with me on this journey, and it has been such a pleasure to make these videos to share with our little community we've built here. In my senior year of high school, I started making TikToks just for fun, and I'm so glad to have gained 11.3 thousand followers over there, and I can't wait to grow my YouTube channel alongside it. So thank you so much for supporting me. I love this YouTube hobby, and I love making so many memories that I'm able to share and cherish forever. So again, just thank you. And if you're new here and you like my art content from this video and you want to see more, including random adventure vlogs and daily shorts with art, makeup, and just everyday life from me, please do all of the things that YouTubers ask you to do. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next year in 2026. Happy holidays!